I am Lauren Anderson of YBM Agency, interviewing Terry Bates today on Financial Juneteenth, and we're going to learn a little bit more about Terry and his amazing book that he just recently published, and we're going to find out about his journey and what it took for him to be who he is and to build what he has built to date. Terry, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So how are things where you are now, considering you're on the side of the country where a great tragedy has just happened in Paris? How are you, and how is the nature of the society out in Paris?
Well, first of all, I'm doing well. Out here it's a little bit chaotic. We actually had a game this past weekend that was canceled and rescheduled. So they're canceling a lot of events. They're canceling a lot of transportation in and out of the city between going to Paris and Lyon, the city I stay in. But overall, people seem to be trying to move past it, but the media is showing it a lot. So, it's a little hectic right now, but, we're getting through it.
Yeah, it's certainly a tragedy. God bless those families that lost people in Paris. We definitely stand with Paris. So let's talk about your brand and your book. I want you to tell me the title of your book. Inform our viewers of who you are and what it is that you do.
Okay, well, my name is Terry Bates. I'm an American football coach, former professional athlete. So as soon as I was done playing, I went directly into coaching. I've coached college, I've coached professional in America, and I've coached all around the world. I've coached in Italy, I've coached in Spain, I've coached in Egypt, and currently, as you stated right now, I'm in France coaching American football. So I'm a coach, but on the side, what I spend a lot of time doing is writing. And this book is called NCAA SLAVE, Economic Exploitation of College Athletes. And I wrote the book specifically to inform college athletes of the business side of the game. There are a lot of young athletes who are only concerned with the athletics and the actual sport side of it. And I wanted to bring an awareness to the business side of the game, because that's the side of the game that gets young athletes caught up in bad situations. So that's the gist of the book.
What do you think the three most important takeaways are from your book for college athletes or for your readers?
Well, the first would be that your scholarship is a contract. Too many times, coaches get young athletes to believe that they use the word scholarship as a code word, so they don't recognize what it actually is. A scholarship is just a contract. It's a contract. So when you sign that scholarship, you're signing a contract, which is a legally binding agreement between yourself and the institution. So the first thing I would advise athletes to be aware of is your scholarship is a contract. So you have to treat it as a contract and understand that once you sign that contract, you're in a business relationship with the institution, with them being the employer and you being the employee. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is that the scholarship is only a one-year renewable contract. Oftentimes when young athletes sign scholarship offers, they're under the assumption that they're going to be on 4 years automatic free education, and that's not the case. Scholarships are in fact 1 year renewable contracts. So if you're injured, if you're not playing up to the standards that the coaching staff feels you should be playing, or if a new coaching staff comes in, which happens a lot, there's a very high turnover ratio in college athletics, then they don't have to renew your scholarship. And so a lot of times you get to this institution, you think that you have 4 years guaranteed schooling paid for, and then if something happens, you're left out in the cold and you have to pay for tuition, room and board, fees, and God forbid you get hurt, you have to pay for medical bills. So that's the second thing. The third thing I would say is that the team needs to unionize. That's probably the most important thing I would get out of the book outside of the scholarship being a contract. The team needs to unionize. There are a few recent court cases, well, not even court cases, but just cases in general, that I point to The Northwestern University football team, they unionized in 2014. And that was a very highly publicized case for anybody who follows college athletics. They went to the Supreme Court, and their case was based on the fact that, look, we're employees of the institution, and we deserve to get paid. You're selling our jerseys, you have ticket sales, you're selling memorabilia, okay, and we need to get paid off of this because we're not seeing a penny off of all these millions of dollars that's coming in, and you're using our labor. So that's the one thing. But the biggest case I will point to recent is the University of Missouri football team. The University of Missouri football team came together and said, look, we're not playing until we get X, Y, and Z. And it only took them 2 days to get what they wanted, which the students were trying to get for like 4 months.
Wow. Yeah, and what an incredible movement that was on the part of the University of Missouri students there. They've definitely started a movement, I think, across college campuses, which is great. You know, the students are feeling empowered as they should, and they are using their political power to take action on campuses. So great point there. Those are some great takeaways that I think you provided to us. I'd like to know, for people that are aspiring to be authors of books, what were the steps that you took to get to the point where you are? Where did you get the capital? How did you find the publishing? What were those steps that you took?
Well, as far as the capital, I put my own money up. I took a page out of Dr. Boyce and, Claude Anderson's book, and I just put my own money up for it. I actually have a situation with my publisher where, I had to pay to print. So, I paid for my own press kit, and so I went that direction. And as far as meeting my publisher, anyone who's familiar with holistic health should be familiar with the name Dr. Lliala Afrika. And I was fortunate enough to meet Dr. Lliala Afrika and his wife, Melanie Stevens, who are my publishers, when I was coaching in Egypt. The season was over in Egypt, and I went on a cruise on the Nile, and I met them on a cruise, and I was already a big fan of his books. I've read a lot of his books. And so, I just got to talking to him, and I spoke with him about, the idea I had. And he said, look, we haven't done anything in sports, but we're looking to venture outside of health, and I think this would be a great topic to cover. So myself, Melanie Stevens, his wife, and Dr. Afrika, we came together once we got back to America, and, we put it together. And so, here we are. It was published August, and it was #1 new release in sports law section in Amazon for the first month it was out. So it's been doing fairly well, and so that was an overview of how we got to publishing the book.
That's great. That's a great accomplishment, considering that you published it in August and it's doing so well so far. So tell me what kind of work day, or what does your typical day in the life look like as you're coaching, as you're promoting your book? What kind of marketing strategies are you using to market this book?
Well, social media. We've been hitting social media hard. I have a Twitter account. If anybody wants to follow the Twitter, it's at NCAA SLAVE. That's the Twitter name, at NCAA SLAVE. Facebook, I've been doing Instagram. Outside of that, I've been doing a few interviews. I've done a few radio interviews, a few online interviews. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this interview. But it's pretty much been groundwork. I've been hitting social media and hitting all the outlets that I have readily available. A few high school athletic directors who I know who will let me speak to high school athletes. And so, that's been the main sources of promotion and marketing.
So what was your motivation behind the book? I know you mentioned that you were a former athlete and that you've coached, all over the world, which is very awesome. So what was your personal motivation for this book? Because the title is a bit in your face, right?
Yeah.
So where does that motivation come from? Tell us about the history or the journey behind that.
Well, the history behind it is, as a college athlete, when my career was over playing college, I played 1 year professional. And when I was playing professionally, I spoke with all of my teammates who all had certain problems with the way how their college careers went. And every time I would speak to my former college teammates, they'd always speak about things like, man, I wish I knew this before I went to college. I wish I would have knew that before I went to college. I wish I knew this. I wish I knew that. So there was always this sense of after the fact, wanting to know things after the fact or finding out things after the fact. And when I coached college football, I noticed that whenever we bring in young men to recruit, I noticed that the coaches would always leave out the most important details of college. They'd always leave out, the fact that your scholarship is a contract. And obviously it's not in their best interest, so why would they tell them, And so my whole thing was, you know what, I think I need to get out of coaching college and need to get into a field where I can still be involved in athletics, but where I can freely speak to the young athletes without it risking my job. Because we just have to be honest, if I was trying to give away this information still coaching college, it may be difficult for me to keep a job,
Yeah.
So I said, I'll just, try to work coaching either professional or coaching abroad, and then I can still give young athletes information that will help them before they get to the college level. So, to answer your question, is just to help young athletes know things before they get to where they're at. So they're not learning on the fly, or they're not learning as they go along or after their career is over. So I just want to help them make informed decisions.
Yeah, I think that's a great mission. And I mean, how lucky are the people that purchase your book and the people that are under your tutelage in sports that are able to get that information that is withheld at, larger institutions across the world. And, maybe not for the athlete's demise, but just, for their capital benefit. So thank you for writing the book and for exposing the information, because I'm sure that it's going to help thousands and thousands of college athletes across the country just to be informed about better decisions and how to proceed in athletics in college. So thank you for that. Do you have anything else that you want to say in regard to your social media? Do you have an Instagram? Like you mentioned your Twitter, your Facebook, or where can people purchase your book?
Okay. Well, you can purchase the book on Amazon.com. Go to Amazon.com and type in NCAA SLAVE, and it'll pop right up. My Twitter is at NCAA SLAVE. Instagram is American Football Coach, and you'll also see on my Instagram a picture of the book, so you'll know. And my Facebook, my government name, Terry Bates. So you can find me any of those mediums, and I'll be happy to reach out, speak to anyone who has any questions or, has any concerns about their journey in athletics. I'll be more than happy to reach out. And I want to thank you, Lauren, for having me on this platform. It's a very important topic to discuss, and I greatly appreciate you sharing your time with me.
Yeah, we definitely are privileged to be able to interview you for Financial Juneteenth today. So thank you for your time, and we'll be in touch. And hopefully everyone needs to go out and get that book, read that book, send it to your college students, your family members that are in athletics from high school that are going into college. All of this information will be useful and definitely necessary for those students. So thank you so much, Terry.
Thank you, Lauren.